Hello everybody, welcome to the shop on a Saturday after Thanksgiving. You're gonna have to deal with the iPhone video for a bit because I don't really feel like pulling out the laptop to upload a regular video from the video camera. Anyways, old wing panel, new wing panels. The skins for this panel are laid up. You can see some little stuff in there. I'll tell you about that in a minute. The other wing panel there is laid up. And I also made up these two sheets of Airex and glass. These will actually be for the internal structure of the wing. No carbon because it's not really necessary. Those will actually be sub spars and main spars. And then this sheet, which is just a single layer 3mm with some carbon or some fiberglass on both sides. This will actually be for intermediary wing ribs and just kind of some oddball stuff inside of the wing panels. See my little notebook there with all kinds of notes on it. So we'll kind of get in there. Like I said, as I'm doing this, I'm writing really good notes like rib locations, flat hinge center lines on the trailing edge, wing notch rib positions, which is actually this stuff, which don't really need to worry about that anymore. There's just a bunch of little stuff that I'm putting in this notebook, and I mean it has everything for wing panels, flaps, fuselage. I mean it gets pretty in depth. Like here's flap stuff for the internals as far as the sizes of everything and hinge locations, thicknesses of parts. I mean it really is well in depth. That way I know exactly what goes to what. Once I get the prototype up and going to where I know exactly what all future ones are going to use, all of this will get transferred over into the computer. I'll type it all up and everything be nice and laminated in a nice thick 3-ring notebook. So it's a matter of just flipping through the page, seeing exactly what I need, cutting it out and putting it down. It'll be nice and simple that way. Then all that stuff, instead of making those things, I'll probably just take the DXF files from the CAD programs, ship it off, like here, I need these parts cut from this material and whatnot. So anyways, alright. Videos, I think I showed you guys the new pivot brackets and all that stuff, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. I told you guys I got the CNC router. Due to the holidays, it's getting delayed a little bit. It's supposed to be here Monday, now it's going to be here Wednesday, so I'll get those videos going whenever. So meantime, since I don't really have a whole lot that I can do until I get these hinge parts done, and I got the G10 material for that on order as it is, and in order to check their fit, I just cut them out of 3/8 inch balls, so they're just kind of dummy mock-ups. But you can see they're all wedged in there in their locations. Mark the locations on the parting planes here. These two are too far in. This one's just about perfect. This one's pretty close, and that one's too far in. Again, all these are drawn up in CAD. Let me pull this one out. And you can see, like I said, just 3/8 balsa. These will actually be 2 pieces of G10 that'll be split in the middle, and it'll be a little less than 3/8. It'll be just a smidgen over 1/4 of an inch. But what you're seeing here with these little target bullseyes, I guess we'll call them, for lack of a better term, is, if I get the camera to focus. Anyways, on one half of this you'll have little holes, and the other half you'll have little nipples, and then each half will have a slot cut in it. This slot is where your Robark style hinge will go for your flaps. And so you'll take the 2 pieces of G10, well you won't because I'll have all these pre-installed, but the 2 pieces of G10 get high sawed together, and then they get installed into the wing before closure. So it'll go in there like so, but of course sticking out a little further so you get the center line in the right spot and you get a nice long straight line from it. But you have your G10 hinge part, and then all that'll be glued down, and then all it is a matter then is just taking your Robark hinge point and just going bloop, sticking it in there. They'll all be cut to the correct depth, so there will be no adjusting fore and after or anything. It's just a matter of shove it in there, well, first off, take your flap, make your notch, drill your hole for your hinge point, shove your hinge point in here, shove it a bunch of high saw on both sides on all 5 hinges, move your flap up and down a little bit so it sits there and it gets the axes, the pivot locations and the axis with all the hinge points in line. Tape it into position and leave it to dry. And that'll be all that is required to hinge these to hinge these flaps on this thing. I mean, it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be so simple to hinge these things. And yeah, I know all this little nitpicking, piddly stuff is a pain in the butt for me to do because it's put so much extra time, and that's why these videos are you see so little going on, because I'll spend 2 or 3 days thinking this stuff through on how I want to do it to make life easier for the builder, as we'll call them. But anyway, all those will be pre-installed. Hinging the flaps are going to be so simple. And then a couple of them are, well, 2 of them are a little oddball. You can see how this one's got the line here. What's going to happen is this is actually going to have, it's going to be kind of hollow in the center, so you're going to have basically a vertical wall on either side to help attach it to the top skin of the wing. But in between is going to be hollow, or there's going to be a channel or a tunnel or whatever you want to call it. And that's actually where your push rod for the flap actuator and your control arm and everything's going to go. So and believe it or not, that's actually scale. The real one actually has little actuators. Granted, it's got 7 of them, I think it is, or 6 of them, but there's a little actuator that comes out to a little control horn or whatever on the top of the surface of the flap, and it sits there and just rolls the flap down. A little different with this one. The flaps, servo is going to be mounted to the top skin, of course. Your arm will come down, and you'll have a straight line between your arm, the push rod, and then the flap arm. And it'll just be a nice simple boop, boop. And the reason why it's got this kind of funky kink to it is so your push rod can be real low here, and as it comes up, it'll kind of be about like that to the arm. So, like I said, lots of little nitpicking ways of thinking this stuff through to make it work. And last video, I told you guys I was moving the flap, or the rear wing spar, all the way up here instead of where it is here. It's only about an inch forward from the trailing edge, so it's about right here. And I'm gonna move it probably another 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches further forward. This one, I know you can't really see anything, but there's a little bit of, well, it's too dark in there for you guys to see. But anyway, it's gonna be way up in there. And that's, I don't, like I said, I don't foresee that being an issue because I'm going a little bit thicker. This is only 1/4 inch with a layer of 2-ounce glass on either side for this spar. I'm going to thicker material, and I'm going to go to the Airex, and it's got 4 layers of glass on it. So now I've beefed up this rear spar because I moved it forward. That way I don't have to worry about any torsional rigidity not being there or anything. So, but that spar being all the way up in here will allow some kind of cool scale stuff to go on. If you look at the full scale F-14, you'll actually notice that it's not a perfect airflow from the wing to the flaps. The flaps have some, I think they call them eyebrow doors. They're actually in this top surface of the flap here. If you look at these, they're actually more rounded here. But then way down here on this end, it kind of takes more of like the leading edge shape of a wing. And that's actually accurate scale-wise. So you can't get that nice kind of round and smooth wing airfoil shape looking here just because of the thickness and how blunt it is without taking the bottom hinge line way forward. If you take it too far forward, now you lose the scale hinge line, delineation line at the bottom, or you lose it up here at the top. It either moves way back here or way forward here. So there's some cool little scale stuff that you could do if you really want to. I'm not gonna bother with it on the flats because it is such a, oh man, you talk about a headache of a job to make it work. But on the real one, it's actually, it kind of follows that line all the way down a little, about, probably 2/3 or 3/4 of the span. And then there's little doors or little hinge doors that kind of they pop up to give it this really thick spot here. So when the flaps actually go down, these doors suck in, so it carries that nice airfoiled shape all the way down around to the full span of the flap. And then when they go up, it sits there and they pop back up. That way you get the nice thick flap you need in order to meet up with the trailing edge of the wing. Well, doing that on these things is just, it's not practical, just got to scale. It'd be cool, just not practical, unfortunately. But another little thing that you'll see on the F-14 wings is back here where the spoilers are, they don't, rarely do you ever see a nice smooth transition all the way across the wing over the spoiler, and a nice smooth transition here onto the flap. Typically what you see is you get the transition to the spoiler, and it steepens, it kind of drops down a little bit more instead of a nice level transition. It kind of caves in a little bit, and then the spoilers are actually resting a little bit here, so as the air hits it, it actually has to raise back up to go over the flap a little bit. And moving that spar all the way forward here, you can see there's this panel on here with all these, there's 2 hinge locations here on the real one. Well, what that'll allow you to do is, I don't think the section down here at the trailing edge does it quite so much because it's so close and the thickness is so even with each other. But it'll allow you to have basically all the way from here to the wing root. It'll actually allow the trailing edge to kind of recess down in there a little bit if you wanted to do it. I'm not going to bother with that either, I don't think, because yeah, it kind of looks cool, but it'd just be a layout, a maintenance nightmare. The one thing I would like to do at some point is down here on the bottom. See, there's a couple of different lines. This portion of the trailing edge from this line forward, I left it there because it just made a vertical parting point a lot easier instead of having it at a funky angle. So I just left that there. So this gets trimmed off. On this wing, I actually took the core material all the way to the trailing edge, which is just a nightmare, and I didn't thin it down. On the new wings, you can see it's just glass right here, so it'd be a lot easier to cut. So that little bit will get trimmed down and trued out, and then you'll see here is where a hinge will be, and here's where a hinge will be, and then these little doors you see right here that kind of goes and stops, and another one on the other side of this hinge. It comes around, it goes all the way down and stops, and another one. These actually, when the flaps go down, these actually fold up into the trailing edge, and what this does is it allows high pressure air from the bottom to go through this gap and onto the top surface of the flap to help accelerate the air across the top, so you can get a lower, it basically makes it a slotted flap. So that's kind of one of the cool little features that I would like to do, and that's what moving the spar forward allows me to do, is it allows the person the option of cutting these out, putting a nice little brass piano hinge or aluminum piano hinge or whatever in these areas, and then putting some sort of actuation system to where they'll just kind of go bloop as the flaps go down, and it gives you a full span slotted flap. Now I believe that full span slotted flap will get rid of a lot of the tip stalling issues that Bob and those guys are having with the Flywheel Jet one, where they had to put crow, they had to split the flap in half and do crow. But it's one option, I think, and the slats probably going to make a huge difference in the tip stalling problem as well, which is one of the issues I have with the Skymaster F-14, is their slats just look horrible. That's how big the slat should be. And for those who are going to argue with me, I have taken full-scale measurements from the real airplane, and that is pretty much the dimension of how wide that slat should be. It's pretty much constant taper the whole way. It gets a little narrower at the tip than at the root. But that Skymaster slat, man, that thing is, oh, it looks like it's about 3 times bigger than it needs to be. But for curiosity's sakes, I took one of the wing skins out of that right wing, the right bottom wing skin out of the mold, because lovely free coat, man, that thing just popped right out. And I sat there and I weighed it. One wing skin is 10 ounces, so there's 20 ounces, just over a pound, and one one set of wing skins. So there's about 2.5 pounds for both of these wing panels. So I'm right on track for shaving a pound of weight off of these wings. And I know 10 ounces sounds like a lot, but a little bit of overkill on the first one is better than a little bit of underkill. These Arex sheets here, they're just under 3/8 of an inch thick, and they are, I think, 6.5, 7 inches wide by 39 inches long. You can see they're 13 ounces. I tried to get a full set of spars, both mains and aft sub spars for both wing panels out of one of these. So if it's 13 ounces, I'm figuring by the time I put the lightning holes and all that stuff in there, the internal structure for one wing panel is going to be around 10 ounces. Let me move you guys over here. My little parts bag, bearing holders here, 2 ounces. I think with the bearings it's like 7 ounces, maybe 5 ounces. I think it's 5 ounces. So these wings should come in right at 2.5 pounds. I'm figuring another 13 to 16 ounces of weight for basically all the internal structure, the hinges, the bearing holders, the bearings, and all that stuff. So that wing's 3 pounds. That's 6. If I do 2.5 pounds, I'm shaving off a pound of weight from the wings, and I'm actually adding more structure. Well, more structure as far as hinges and all that stuff. But anyway, more structure, less weight. So, anyways, that's what I have been doing for the past few days. I don't suspect to do much more. Luckily, we ate all the turkeys, so I don't have to worry about any more turkey comas. So anyways, that's what I've been doing. Been kind of playing around with the fuselage and some stuff too, but maybe tomorrow I'll get motivated and I'll actually come out here and do something productive, like finish modifying the CAD files for those hinge blocks to get those exactly where I need. I got the rudders and stuff that I need to get the brass inserts for the torque tubes installed. I got a carbon toe the vertical fin spars to the bulkhead. I need to pull the actuators back out, so I'm going to order the linkage materials for that. And I got so much stuff to do, guys. It's not even funny. And unfortunately, more time than money at the moment with our work season now officially over. So money definitely becomes a scarce commodity around this household. So anyways, until next time, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you back here in the shop.